Welcome to episode number one of Hoop Talk Fanatics. I am here with my co-host Chris Cohen, and we are gonna be talking various subtopics. And uh, I'm excited to start.
So it's gonna be good. I will be doing this with you, Alex.
Same.
All right,
So
so let's just get right into it. Let's go with
yeah, yeah.
so you're a big Sixers fan. How are you feeling going into the season?
I'm feeling very confident, even with or without Ben Simmons. I mean, like if we do decide to keep Ben Simmons, I think it's going to be a pretty good look, just because of his ability in transition and with a new, fresh start of a season. It might be better than a lot of people around this country think. And I just think that having the ability to have him uh, with besides Embiid, Tobias Harris, uh, Shake Milton, and a bunch of others, I think it's very important to keep him on the roster and just just go from there.
I agree with that. I mean, it's a tough situation because he's clearly not happy, and it's almost impossible to repair relationships like this.
Mhm.
But the Sixers can't just settle in a trade either. Like they're not going to get back an ideal package, probably just because how his value's gone down. But he's still a young star, so
Mhm.
he can command a lot. It's just that they'll get good value for him. It's just going to be a bit the right value for what they want because the Sixers are in a spot where they're a I would call them a borderline contender
Mhm.
in the East. They're right on that edge mark. I mean, a whole season, a lot will change. Like as we look at them right now, it's just in question mark. But because you mentioned Shake Milton, I like his play. We're both big fans of Tyrese Maxey. We think he
Mhm.
can have a big year, but they need. I like Steph Curry's been big for them. You mentioned Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, but they still need at that guard spot. They're going to need somebody to step up if Simmons isn't there, and that's the way it's looking right now. So in a trade, you obviously have to address that. And so many teams make different moves throughout the season, so that'll be addressed in one way or another, and they'll find ways to go with that. But I think I think that the Sixers are going to be really competitive this season, and I'm excited to watch them play. It was just last season that did not end the way I expected at all. I was shocked they lost that game seven to the Hawks. That was a tough one. The Hawks really impressed me. On the flip side of that, yeah, the Hawks really impressed me with the work they did in the postseason. And and you mentioned the possibility if Simmons were back, wherever Simmons is at, this goes wherever he's playing next season. I feel like he has to be more aggressive looking to score the basketball still.
Mhm.
And it's tough to get confidence going again when you're in a tough spot like he was, and teams kind of got to him in that sense and really affected his game. I feel like, but because we've all seen the popular a meme, the clip where he passed up that open layup late in the
Mhm.
game, and it's that can't happen. Like obviously he knows that. He knows like that's a massive mistake and he has to be better. But like when you get under someone's skin, you really get them thinking every like having no confidence in their offensive game. It's really tough. And I trust he's gonna get working on that. And whether he's in Philly or not, it's gonna be I'm interested to see where he would end up because I'm it's hard to believe what rumors we hear. I don't know if you saw reports, but apparent reports of the Pacers having some interest.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't know if I'd love that fit. I would like if the Sixers could get a player like Brogdon back to return as part of a
Mhm.
package. That would be really nice, or even Levert in some case or
How
something.
about how about
That'd be
Utah?
Utah. I
Yeah.
want it a pack. They don't have a lot of assets.
Sorry
I
about
feel like
that.
it's all good, all good. I don't. feel like Utah had a lot of assets to give back in the trade. Because I mean, obviously not going to send Mitchell or Gobert, and Conley want to make those. I mean, Conley and some younger guys. I don't think that would make sense. But I would love to. I would love to see the Sixers get a veteran point guard like that. I don't know the logistics of that, but
Maybe
it's also go ahead.
maybe a possible Mike Conley trade.
It's I don't think it's super crazy. I think the Jazz are pretty good with what they are with Conley. But I also
Mhm.
know the 3-point shoot the shooting aspect wouldn't be killer. And I think having Donovan Mitchell off the ball a little bit more wouldn't be bad.
Mhm.
But with Gobert already having the offensive limitations in the playoffs, we see how that gets exposed a little bit.
Yeah.
It would be tough to add Simmons to that. Quinn Snyder's a great coach. They have nice pieces. They want to matter in the regular season. But ultimately, they're in a spot where it's all about the playoffs.
Hmm.
But I do think a lot of teams should be interested in Simmons because I would love to see him. And like, I don't know where his interest or his mindset's at. I doubt he wants to go to a tanking team, but I think a lot of these lower level teams could really benefit from getting him, and he would benefit from going to a team where he can be the guy. Oklahoma City would be a weird fit, but I would love to see him there alongside Shea. It's just they don't. This I don't. The Sixers aren't in a spot just to get young assets back in the trade. I feel like
Hmm.
it would have to take a lot, I think, for them to do that. Because even though the value might be good for that, I still don't think because they still want to surround Embiid with pieces to win now, despite everything that's going
Yeah.
on. The way they lost that, feel like they're not. They still view themselves as if they can try to get a player and push with that. So, I mean, I don't. It would suck to have just have him sitting on the bench to start the season, not playing games. But I don't think you want to settle in the trade either. And there will certainly be a team willing to offer what they want at some point. And
Hmm.
if it has to be a month from now, 2 months from now, it's not ideal. But I think they have enough pieces to stay afloat despite that. It'll be very interesting though to see how
Yeah.
that all unfolds.
They they open up the season at New Orleans.
At New Orleans. That'll
Yeah.
be an interesting matchup. That'll be a good one. But yeah,
I'm curious. I'm curious to see how they react against Brendan Ingram and Zion.
having Simmons in that matchup defensively would be big time
Yeah.
because Zion will be Zion's a handful, and they'll have to throw different guys at him. Like
And
that'll be a bunch of very different styles too going at it.
doesn't the Pelicans have Drew Holiday?
Drew Holiday's on the Bucks. He got traded a
Oh,
couple
oh
years
yeah, oh
ago.
yeah, that's right.
They have their guards off. They lost Lonzo. Um, I don't even know who the starting point guard's going to be. I forgot. I feel like they got somebody. I'm gonna double
Uh,
check that. I'll look it up real quick. Because I know they have a lot of younger guards. Like they have. Oh yeah, they got Devontae Graham.
yeah.
And I have mixed feelings about that. As a KU fan, I love Devontae Graham.
Hmm.
He played well. Dang, I forgot he was in New Orleans. That's even exciting. I kept thinking he was in Charlotte still.
They also have
They have someone else. I know.
they also have Josh Hart.
Josh Hart's I really like that. Bringing him back was he gets a little bit of hate, but I think he's a great role player. Like
Yeah.
he's a very good rebounding wing, and I think
Hmm.
that can help them a lot. They also got Jonas Valanciunas, which will be big, but Devontae Graham, as a point guard, and I like him more off ball. I'm interested to see what Kyra Lewis can do. I mean, Thomas Satoransky's a solid, okay, but he's more backup. So they're going to be an interesting spot. They'll probably let Ingram and Zion handle the ball a bit more. So I doubt it's a huge issue not
Hmm.
having that guy at point guard, but it'll definitely be something to follow, I think, for them. Who's,
Yeah, it's the.
who's, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, finish off on the Sixers topic. Who's the one, besides Tyrese Maxey, because we both left him, who's the one Sixers player you're really looking at to have a big, not necessarily breakout season, but like kind of step up?
I would have to say Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris, you think?
Yeah.
They're going to need him too. and I think he's capable. I really like his game.
And plus, with the 3-point shooting, perimeter shot is very key for the Sixers offense, and it looks like it seems to be he's locked in every game and has the confidence in him to sink in threes, and I think that's going to be a player to keep an eye out definitely over the course of the season.
I agree with that. If they could get Tobias Harris to be all-star caliber, whether you get actually recognized as an all-star is kind of irrelevant in my opinion. But if he's playing close to that level, that would be so
Plus,
great.
he has weapons to play on, which is very important for their offense.
He does. Yeah, they know they gotta kind of take that to the next level and really get some more stuff going. And Tobias Harris knows he's gonna have to be a guy to really step up alongside Embiid this season, especially with question Ben Simmons. The roster could look completely different by playoffs, but like they know it'll be a working process, but in progress and like getting better one up. But Harris is gonna have to be that guy in a potential postseason series against whoever they play. They want to win the series. Yeah, I like what they did, and then it's gonna be fun season for the Sixers. And then I got my Dylan Brooks jersey on repping right now. I'm excited about my Grizzlies squad this season. A lot of people didn't like the Jonas Valanciunas trade, and I kind of have mixed feelings about it. It's more about long term. He was never going to be the center for the next 7-8 years because, I mean, he was massive tonight. Not tonight, sorry. Massive past season. Like getting into the playoffs, he was really big. And like that was really key and whatnot. But I think they'll be better in the long run for this trade. They have a lot of versatile guys who can play the 4th spot. They're going to need Jaren Jackson to be able to play the center for Spurs. But I think Steven Adams is really solid at that spot. I think Xavier Tillman is a fine backup center. And then, but the one thing I'm looking for, and last year in the postseason, they kind of, I mean, it was quick 5 games against the Jazz. They had the play-in. So it was kind of not like extended. But they had Brandon Clark and Xavier Tillman they kind of had an inconsistent rotation all of last season. They were very inconsistent. And this is the one thing I'm looking for them to change. Now, I think they will in some ways. But I felt like I don't hate how they did this last year. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but they kind of prioritize development over winning. And I have mixed feelings about that, but it worked last season. I don't think that can't be a strategy this season because like they had like 12 guys who deserve minutes last season, and you can't play 12 guys every night. It's just or 12 or 13 every night. It's not going to work. And they kind of mix it around. Like some playoff games, Brandon Clark was the guy as the backup big, and then we saw in the Golden State game, Xavier Tillman was the guy, and then because of foul outs, he was playing in overtime hitting big shots, and like he stepped up big. Brandon Clark had a great rookie season, but kind of the public perception was more negative last season for him. But it's just gonna be work in progress, getting everyone to fit into their role. And I'm excited. They got Chris Dunn. I know he was playing with the starters a good amount last night in the Bucks preseason game, which I was surprised about a little bit. And I thought,
who do you think? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's right. Who do you see having the breakout season?
Breakout. So, I mean, Desmond Bain, Xavier Tillman were big last year's rookies. I think they'll take the next step, but not necessarily breakout. Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't know. You probably saw this poll from the GM. He was voted the most likely breakout player in the league, actually. And that surprised me a little bit. Like, his potential's there. A lot of it's just health. He has some foul tendency issues and rebounding issues in his game that kind of put a damper and really limitize how effective he can be at times. But nobody can, like, as a big, he's one of the best shooting bigs in the league, if not the best. And I don't think that's a hot take at all. He can just pull up and fire from anywhere. I saw him hit like 6 or 7 threes in a quarter against the Bucks. It might have been 2 years ago. I don't remember, but like he'll just go crazy at times, far enough from anywhere.
Mhm.
Just getting his confidence going, and he's a good playmaker as well off the bounce and really drive. But for breakout player, I really think D'Anthony Melton is going to take another step forward. We saw because we've seen he's a guy. He makes all the hustle plays. He he's really good off the ball, defense, doing all that stuff. He improved his shot last season as well. But I think he's going to be a 6 man of the year candidate this season. Assuming like injuries, he won't have to. He'll be coming off the bench. So I'm assuming starting lineup will be Ja, Dylan, Anderson, Jaren Jackson, and Steven Adams. And so he won't start. But I think he'll be a 6 man of the year candidate. So I really think Anthony Melton to really take a big step forward. And I think that'll be big for them.
What what's your prediction for their record?
Record, I think
Yeah.
the over-under I saw for the betting odds is 41.5, and I think that's really good. I would say
Mhm.
they're slightly above that, maybe 44. I haven't looked through standings. We'll do official predictions later on, which I'm sure for a preseason show, but like maybe 44ish. It's just the bottom of that West is I've been thinking about my picks already, like how I think it's going to
Yeah.
envision. Because you got like Portland, Golden State. Like Golden State will probably be just above those teams. But like Portland, I saw some stuff. They won a lot of close games last season, and they kind of overachieved. Like their record was better than a lot. Like they kind of seemed to play. Like there's a lot of like, and then the Pelicans eventually should be making that jump to right in that mix. Like last year's play-in tournament was insane for for like the Western Conference. Like those 7 through 10 spots are going to be absolutely hectic because the Kings should be in that. Like the Timberwolves finally should make that jump into that conversation too. Like it's going to be extremely crowded, but I think the Grizzlies are just a little bit above 500 this season,
Mhm.
and because I mean that's about I don't know they were generally about that last season with just a little less games played in the season, so they didn't get that many wins, but they were just over 500 I believe, and then they beat the Warriors making playoffs, so like it was a major success. And like expectations are different this season, but like you also have to realize like it's going to be hard to catch or like pass the teams ahead of you, and I think a big thing with that is John Morant's development. Like I've talked a lot about how these other guys will step up, and like the depth on this team is very crucial. So like at the end of the day, in the big moments when like you need to make plays, it comes down to your star players, and the Grizzlies need John Morant to do that. And I'll kind of put you on the spot. Do you think John Morant will be an All-Star this season?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
I would guess he does sneak one of those last ones spots
Mhm.
because I hate predicting like this, but if when you take into account, usually there's an injury or two as well. So
Mhm.
you can't 12 play, but you kind of assume 14 guys usually get recognized because people have to sit out. That's kind of my mindset with it. Because when you think about it, thinking about the point guards, I don't think Mike Conley won't make it again. He was a replacement though, and it wouldn't surprise me if Chris Paul misses this year.
Yeah.
Even though he was very like he absolutely drove the last season. Chris Paul is the guy I could see falling off, and I think John Morant could get
How about Jay Crowder?
Jay Crowder. He's he's very crucial. He's not all star level, but like
Uh.
he is big time for what
Mhm.
the Suns do. I loved having him in Memphis. He's he's like I talked about Grizzlies role players depth. He is the one of the best role players in the game. Like he
Mhm.
impacts winning. He's like the Suns with the finals. He's teammates with LeBron, and I think it's in that year in Cleveland. I think it was the last game in Cleveland they made the finals. I think it was when he was there. I don't know. I know he was teammates with them. He was on the Miami Heat team. He was like really big as that alongside Butler, and then like making big shots. Like, and he's just such a great veteran leader, and like I love the guy. And like guys like that impact winning. As you think about the stars, like that's why when I'm thinking six is like you got to get those guys, and
Mhm.
that's Curry I think is one of those guys that they got that like he's big time like that, like those veterans who make the right plays, that smart ball players, like to hit the big shots, like those are big like that. So it's just gonna be interesting to see how those work out for him. But yeah, I'm really excited for this Grizzlies season.
Mhm. So moving on, we are gonna be talking about Villanova and Kansas hoops. And first, we are going to cover Brian Antoine from Villanova. He went down with a serious patella tendon injury, and he is out 6 weeks. And I think that this is going to be a very heartbreaking injury to Villanova with their season coming up around the corner. But I do think that they will have a good offensive system, even though without having him.
I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
like it sucks having a key player miss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact timeline, but he'll miss for a couple weeks this season. But
yeah,
you expect it could be, even if it's kind of tough coming back for him, you expect him to be pretty much walked in by conference play still when that starts. I guess Big East conference play does start a little bit sooner than others, I believe. I don't know the exact date, but I think some of those games start mid-December even. So I mean, he should be back by then. Even.
I'm gonna check real quick.
Maybe I'm incorrect, but I thought, because I know they play. Don't they play 20? I think they play 20 game schedule for the Big East, if I remember. I may be wrong. But either way, like Villanova's system, they have really good players around him. Like I'm really excited about what they got. Like the way that they play, I feel like they always have veteran guards step up. Like Brian Antoine hasn't been a key contributor the past couple of seasons. Like he's played, like done a little bit, but like at the top recruit, he hasn't necessarily lived up to expectations. But like college game is a tough adjustment for people to make for a lot of different reasons. So I'm not worried about him. I think he'll have a big year when he gets going. But like I almost forgot Colin Gillespie coming back. That's big. That is massive because he was sensational last season. Like he's been sensational his whole career. Like those veteran guys, Chris, Archie, Yakino, like they have really good guards. And I'm sure some of these guys I was looking at the roster. I'm sure some of these guys I don't know about yet. I'm sure I feel like they have guys step up every season. I think last year Chris Archie-Yakino was the guy I didn't really know. Like, I knew he was on team because of his brother Ryan was there, and I knew when his brother showed up. But like I didn't like he came to play and he was really solid for them in that role. And but like they'll manage without him. But I do think Antoine's poised for a big breakout season. If I had to guess, I think he would be the guy to really step up. But besides him, who else are you looking at to possibly kind of take a big step?
I was thinking of Eric Dixon.
Eric Dixon, I like that one.
He's a very good in the paint guy. When he gets the ball, he can maneuver easily with anything that's defending him. And I think that it's very crucial for Villanova to have him in the backcourt. And I think that he's going to be having a hell of a season and a much better growth of a season than last year, because I'm seeing his progress over the course of the off season, and it looks like he's been just grinding out every single day, and it's going to be very fun to watch him go at it.
I really like. I just now I see a website like kind of projects stats for players. I'm gonna text you. I'll actually just text you the link right now so you can take a peek. It'll be cool to have for future shows too. But I see that like they kind of project stats for players. I've just searched Villanova basketball roster and it's kind of popped up, and they kind of just show the role. They they project Eric Dixon 5.6 boards, 4.5 rebounds. They
Mhm.
projected Brian Antoine to average 10.7 points. I don't know where they get the numbers. I would love to look into this website more, but they kind of have projections for all the guys. So like I'm excited to see that. Like obviously Jermaine Samuels and Colin Gillespie are going to be big time. Justin Moore should have a big year as well. They kind of project that, but like I really like this website I just found. I definitely look into more. Like you can click on the players too, and like see a lot of in-depth
Mhm.
statistics for that. So that's really cool. But yeah, I think Villanova's. I feel like they're kind of under the radar a little bit because
Mhm.
the preseason talks. I feel like it's kind of I don't. There's not a lot in the media. Like in the summer when all the moves were happening, you heard teams talking about a lot of people making their predictions and whatnot projections. So he's going to be good. But I still feel, even though we're only a month out, it's still kind of quiet on like the buzz for college basketball. So I think in the coming weeks, it's really going to start heating up, and I'm excited for that. I feel like Villanova's kind of not on that top level. They could get to that
Mhm.
level during the season, but I don't think a lot of people view them as a contender. View them maybe kind of similar to how last season went for them. Like they were really good, but like they weren't
I'm
necessarily contender.
I've actually heard that they are definitely going to be a Final Four team this year.
You think so?
Yeah, with the Count Gillespie back,
That
he
with him and Samuels,
yeah.
yeah, with bringing them back, haven't because I've mentioned all these other teams like Gonzaga's insane recruiting class, the talent they have. They have
Mhm.
things back. KU brought in a lot of new faces. Duke has a ton of freshmen. Um, UCLA is going to be nasty. I love they got pretty much everyone. I think they did bring
Speaking
everybody back.
speaking of UCLA, Villanova plays them in the Wooden Classic.
Ooh,
Um, actually, I'm not sure if it's the Wooden Classic or not, but it's November 12th.
November 12th. Oh, that's so early. Okay,
Yeah, it's
that'll be a great game.
tip off is at 11:30 p.m.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
11:30. Oh my god. Yeah, 'cause that'll be a great test for both teams because
Yeah.
I'll make a quick point about UCLA, then we'll get into KU. But like Villanova, I view them. They're kind of like as the season progresses and guys kind of step up, they'll probably become I don't know too early
Mhm.
project seeds or whatnot, but they a 2, 3 seed that can make Final Four, top 10 team that can make Final Four. That's my guess right now for them. They'll make that development. I mean, so many teams fluctuate between now and March. Like it's just too hard to project stuff, but Jay Wright will have them playing good ball in March. You don't have to worry about that. I feel like
Mhm.
for however they can be, they will be as long as they're healthy. Then but UCLA because they brought in a lot of good players. Like they brought in
Mhm.
some good pieces. Miles Johnson, I think that's a decent recruiting class. But like they brought back the main guys, so expectations were very high for them. So like there's also a reason they were an 11 seed last year, and I think they might be getting overhyped a little bit. I mean, they
Mhm.
definitely are still a Final Four threat, but like a lot of people acting like they're on Gonzaga's level to start the season. I don't agree with that as much as I would love it to be true. Like I'm hoping UCLA can really continue doing what they do, but like they got to stay locked in from now through April if they want to be
Mhm.
back in the Final Four. Like the run they went on was special, but like teams can get hot in March, but like doing that for 5 months of the season, playing at that level is tough. Like you're not gonna be perfect every night, but like playing good basketball every night is tough, and that's where you got to be to be a real contender. Usually, like we've seen the rare cases teams get hot in March and win a title. Most notably, the two UConn teams in the
Mhm.
past decade or so, with Kimber Walker and then Shabazz Napier, Jalen Lamb. Like they just got hot and won some national titles. That first Kim Walker team was a 3 seed, so like they were still like they were nasty. They had some good pieces, but like usually the better teams win in March, no matter how well you're playing at the end. Like you have to be playing, you have to be like one of the better basketball teams. You can't just rely on getting hot in March and winning. I mean, that's why we love March Madness. Anything can happen, but generally the better teams win.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see how UCLA perform from the get go.
Speaking of them, I'm I'm checking their schedule right now. I'm not sure who they open up with. Um, UCLA. They open up with CSU Bakersfield.
Okay. CSU baby. Okay. Yeah, a lot of teams have that one easy game before their big matchup, and then they have
Mhm.
Villanova the next game, which will be big. And then, but UCLA also does play Gonzaga this season.
Yeah, that's the game
Also,
I'm
see
looking forward to.
that'll be Pac-12 games start December 1st. I see they play Colorado December 1st. That is very early. I love it. Kind of mixing in conference games early. They also play UNC this season,
Hmm.
Marquette. So like they'll be tested. And the Pac-12 is getting a lot better as a conference. Like I remember 3 or 4 years ago, the Pac-12 was almost a one bid league a couple of seasons. Like they
Hmm.
got a couple in there, but like the Pac-12 is not good. But last year, the Pac-12 was probably the best team in the NCAA tournament based off how teams perform. So
Hmm.
I'm excited for that conference as a whole too. So I mean, it's going to be, excuse me, exciting. The Big East Conference is so exciting. No matter how good the teams are, I feel like that's top year in year out. That's probably my favorite conference to watch. It's not
Hmm.
the best conference, but like teams play hard and they compete, and I love watching that basketball. So I'm really excited for that.
Seems it's gonna be a fun college basketball season.
It is, and then kind of going along with that, we got KU basketball. It should be a great season. Last
Hmm.
year was a disappointment, and like what I kind of talked about, how teams you'll play your best basketball in March, and Phil Self got this team playing their best basketball in March, but they just didn't physically have the people to compete with USC in that NCAA tournament game. I don't know if you remember, but they lost by like 30,
Hmm.
and it was hopeless. It was tough to watch. UCLA was just they were better on both sides of the ball. They were bigger, more athletic. They could shoot the ball better, and they were just physically outmatched. And it was tough to watch. But like you bring in some new guys. A lot of people have mixed feelings on Remy Martin. He's from Arizona State. I don't know how much you've watched him play, but I think getting a guy who can score the basketball like that is massive. I think he's not going to be asked to do as much in the KU's offense either, which is big. Because like Bill Self's not going to, his offense isn't a style where he's going to give the point guard the ball and say, go shoot 20 times a game. Like that's not how he rolls. And he may not necessarily be the number one option on offense because Ochai Baji, he a lot of mixed feelings about how he performed, but he's still a very good player, potential All American type of guy. Depending on how he plays, Dave McCormick's still going to be featured in the low post and what he does. It's like it's really exciting. But bringing in a guy like Remy Martin, DeJuan Harris is a youngster who's going in his sophomore season. Who, as of right now, it it's still a month out from the season, so it doesn't necessarily mean a lot right now. It could change during season two, but he would start a point guard right now, is what Bill Self said. But I mean, he was here last season, they haven't done a lot of practice, so just take that for what it's worth, not much. And then Joseph Yesufu, probably pronouncing that wrong. He played at St. Louis last season. No, Drake, not St. Louis. Sorry, Drake last season because they made the NCAA tournament.
Hmm.
They were a lot of fun to watch. I don't know. I think they played. No, they did. They played Wichita State, I believe, in the NCAA tournament game because they went. That team went through with some big injuries, and he kind of didn't. A lot of people don't expect him to play a lot of KU. I feel he'll have a role, but I'm just a lot of guys coming in, and I'm just excited for college basketball season. Kind of had some disappointing seasons out of way for KU, and having the COVID year, and when KU was the number one overall seed is heartbreaking too. And I just want South to get another title. That's winning. Like it's hard to compare from sports, but winning a national championship in college basketball is incredibly tough because, like I mentioned, one of the best teams usually wins, but like winning 6 straight games in a neutral
Hmm.
site with like the fan atmospheres, like when you're a one seed, like you like if you're not super close, if you're not like a top seed, like you're not playing close to home, like you the top seed fans will travel more, but like when it comes down to it, those other three fan bases that are like, because they have four, like those other three fan bases at that location are going to be cheering against you. And some of the atmospheres get tough to play in, and like the big stage, like especially teams with younger players, like the freshmen going right into it, like it's tough to win 6 straight games. So a lot of times the veteran teams, that's why I think Jay Rice's Villanova teams have had a lot of success because they have veterans. I mean, they definitely have some really good younger guys like the freshmen, whatever, lower class, and they really step up. But like they were like heavily, I feel like, on a veteran point guard every season. So and we talked about it already, but having Colin Gillespie back is big for them, and that's why I think K bringing in Remy Martin is so big, and having guys that they can rely on, like having those veteran guys, is really big for what you can do, and that's kind of what I know Baylor relied on last season. Everyone thought Gonzaga was winning national title easily. So like Baylor defended, they could shoot the three ball really well, and they had veterans. Davion Mitchell was 22 years old. Mo Vital, I think, was a fifth-year senior. Jared Butler was a third year, but they had a lot of guys transferred in, so like the actual classification was kind of one less than what they really were. So like they were 21, 22-year-olds. The only thing is like a lot of 18, 19. Like Jalen Suggs having to go up against Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler, two of the best like defenders in college basketball, and Mo Vital. Like they just a really good team. So like, I mean, it's going to be a very exciting season for college basketball, I think, and a lot of big things for a lot of different teams.
Mm-hmm. So to conclude episode number 1, we are going to talk about Klay Thompson and how he's going to develop coming off a hard injury. So what are your thoughts on him coming back, and do you think that it's going to be a big effect for the Warriors offense?
I think he will. I don't think he'll be all-star Klay. Offensively, it shouldn't be much of an issue because he's not a player who has to move. Like off-ball movement is like such an underrated skill still, and like he's very good at like getting open spots. Like their offense can get him open screens and whatnot. But like it's definitely a skill, like to get open, like find the spots, and like know what the defense is gonna do, and like know where like Steph or Draymond or whoever can get you the ball in a spot to shoot or whatever. Like it's absolutely an important skill, but like it's definitely doable coming off an injury because like a guy like someone who's more athletic and relies on the athleticism like Russ, Derrick Rose, like guys like that, like it's super tough coming back. Like he can kind of stand to his role as a spot of shooter, let Steph Curry do his thing, and I think he'll fit in that well. But one way that they're going to need him late in the season, especially, is because he's such a good defender. Like he was one of the best defensive defenders. Yeah, sorry, one of the best wing defenders in the game when he was hurt, and it's tough to have that expectations for him. But like, I feel like they're going to need him to be that guy come playoff time because in the Western Conference there's so many good wings. Because if I don't necessarily view them as contenders, but like just for the hypothetical, when you think about the team defense defending, let's just say the Lakers, for example. Who knows? Playoffs, anything can happen. Like injuries, whatever. But like he would probably have to be the guy to guard LeBron. But then kind of going off Klay a little bit, but like they have nobody defended. Like Draymond Green cannot guard Anthony Davis. Like that's just a high mismatch. But like you probably have to. I mean, it would just be a nightmare. But like, and let's say more manageable. Maybe they're like the 4 or 5 seed. They play the Clippers. Maybe who knows how that works out. Like he has to guard Paul George or Kawhi's back. Like he has to guard a guy like that. Like he's gonna have to guard one of these big time wing players in a playoff series, I think, and they're gonna need him for that. Like Andrew Wiggins is okay, not an absolutely terrible defender, but like Klay Thompson's gonna have to be their number 1 wing defender because Steph's an okay defender for what they. He wasn't an okay defender. Oh, he is an okay defender. It's just a lot depends on system because like he's not gonna be able to guard one like a lot of the top point guards like he can defend them well. Like you're not shutting down any of these guys. But like playoff series when it comes down to it, it's kind of tough for whoever to do whatever. But like Klay Thompson offensively shouldn't be a problem. Steph Curry should be big. Kind of going along with Klay's offense though. There's a lot of question marks surrounding their two rookies, the Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. Yeah, Moses Moody. Because I like both of them, and I think they could be key pieces moving forward. But a lot of people do not think they're ready to contribute this season. And then that kind of goes along. Actually, do you have anything else you want to add on Klay Thompson before I get into that next point?
Nothing really I can think of.
All right, yeah. So I talked about the young guys like Kuminga and Moody. We talked about, and then kind of the last point we're going to get to, then we'll finish up with some general Warriors NBA discussion, whatever. But like Draymond, I don't know if you saw the video, but Draymond Green's comments on developing slash winning, he kind of went on a little deal about like it's hard to do both. Like there's no way around it. It's hard to do both. And I agree with that. Like, but I don't know what I would do. I'm not gonna say what I would do. I don't even know what I would suggest. Like, and I'm not in the position to do that. Just as a fan, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's tough to make that decision because, like, I'm not even talking the business perspective of quote unquote tanking and focusing just on the future or trading all young assets and then being bad in a few years. Like the financial aspects of trading or moving on from Steph Curry, like that's not going to happen. But like the financial aspects for like what it would cost, like the new stadium, like they need to bring in money. Like the financial aspects are big, but I'm just going to focus strictly on like the basketball aspect and just like Kuminga and Moody, like they might take time to develop, but I think they could be two really good wing players for the future. So like Draymond Green talked about, he's like, he's like Draymond. I really like listening to Draymond Green talk about the game. I think he's one of the smartest players in the game, and I love when he's an analyst. I see him too. That's why I'm kind of signed up. I was why they're glad they missed the playoffs. They got to hear him talk a lot during that, kind of give his thoughts on stuff. And I think I always love listening to him talk. So like he brought up a good point. Like it's hard to develop young guys and prioritize that while also prioritizing winning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a tough spot to put the young guys in too. James Wiseman kind of talked about it, especially with like the COVID year and like, I mean, it's still not back to normal, but like people know what they're doing. Like we're rolling with it now. So like it's different than last season, even by a lot. Because like it's a full season, like they had an off season and they're getting back into the swing of things now in training camp and preseason games. So like it's tough on a lot of guys. So like they have James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody. Like those are three really good young assets. And like some Warriors fans and like me, people like, do you trade all those guys and try to get another key player to go in with this core? Because like they're older guys, Steph's older, Klay's older, Draymond's older. Like you try to get another guy to come win now, but like it's also risky because are they good enough if they do that to compete with the Lakers, Bucks, Nets? And a lot of people probably would argue no. I don't know where I sit on that. We'll have to like watch as the season gets to trade deadline. I'm sure there'll be plenty of news stories about that topic. But like it's just really tough to think about. I don't know if you have any thoughts on kind of some of the struggles with that because I mean the Sixers are a different type of. I mean they're not the same at all, but like their stars are still young, so like they're similar in some ways. I feel like.
Yeah, they're still young and they still have to grow chemistry, off and on the court. Definitely, I think that's a big part for every NBA team, because once you get that down, then it'll be easier to communicate with either a playmaking and having the ability to win more games than they really think they can. And I totally agree what you have to say about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, but like I kind of mentioned the Sixers example. I kind of talked about like the Grizzlies a little bit earlier, like how they like it's different than like what the Warriors are going through something completely different, but it's something that every team has to find a balance of. Because the
Mhm.
Warriors are more like it's more like it's a more like an actual tough decision. Like other teams have young players that like they want to develop,
Mhm.
but they also want to win. Like some teams and then some teams we have some of the tanking teams like OKC last season. Like teams go through these stretches. The Grizzlies have gone through these stretches. Sixers have gone through these stretches before they got to Ben Simmons. Like when you just tank and you just try to develop a couple role plays out of it, whatever will end up working out. But like the Warriors, it's like you got three guys who have won championships together, and then you have these really young assets that could bring back a decent package in return to help compete for another championship season. And it's just
Mhm.
tough decisions will have to be made, and I think I'm very excited to see how they do. But even aside from all that, I think this team can still be very good because it's all about getting Klay. I think Draymond Green, he like not having Klay on the floor because the Warriors' offense was just so much worse, and it made his offensive flaws got exposed more because of it.
Mhm.
But like, if Jordan Poole can get better, if they can,
Oh,
they brought
speaking of him,
go for it.
Jordan Poole went off last preseason game.
He did. I have high expectations for him because Clay's not going to be ready to open the season. So
Yeah.
I think Jordan Poole's going to be a really good backup for them when he does. And I think Jordan Poole's a really good role player. And like having guys like that step up and get better, like they're going to need keep getting him going. But like the Warriors are in a unique spot. They have I'm not projecting or I don't think they should make any moves with the young guys one way
Mhm.
or another. Like you just gotta play with it. It's tough. Not but like you definitely don't trade all of them, but like if it comes to a spot where you need to trade a guy in a pick to try and get a veteran to kind of plug into this lineup later on in the season for playoffs, like that's a decision months from now. That's not anything to worry about too much, I guess. Like it's something that the reporters and media I think is gonna be kind of looking at a lot this season because like with Klay coming back, Curry, Draymond, like that team can that team can still be a problem in the playoffs. Like if Curry and Klay get hot, like they have other guys, like it's going to be exciting to watch them play, and I'm super pumped for it, and I hope they can stay healthy. But I love watching Steph Curry play in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoff Curry is a 1-2 to sit down and just enjoy the moment.
That is true. I will say I was glad he was not in the playoffs last season though. Go
Yeah,
Grizzlies. That was nice. That was very. That I mean, even that game, Curry was special. Like
yeah,
I think we're up like double digits or something, and then it was down to like two in like 45 seconds or something like that. He sits up three, and it's just like, oh my god. Like I don't remember, but like him and Morant both went off, but like Curry and the atmosphere, like it's crazy. I'm super excited for the Golden State Warriors next season.
yeah. It's gonna be interesting in the West and how that really uh comes.
The Western Conference is so crazy. Like every team. We can go quick wrap up, and then we'll kind of close it. But
Okay.
like thinking about not we're not making predictions or anything, but like when you think about who's going to be like a playoff contender in the West, like everyone except Oklahoma City, like contender, like every team's goal, probably besides the Thunder, is to make the playoffs in
Hmm.
the West. Like I mean, every team's Houston and OKC are the two. Probably not. Like I mean, obviously every team's goal is, especially with the playing, stuff can happen. You have to play a step up. Like you can sneak into that 10 spot. Like I'm not trying to disrespect those teams, but like 13, like Timberwolves, they're in a spot where they should legitimately feel like this is the year they can get into that play. The Kings should feel the same way. The Spurs probably not actually, but I'm never, even though they missed last year, I'm never going to count out Popovich for sure. I mean, they still
Hmm.
made the play, and I'm never going to count them out 100%. But like, it's going to be a bloodbath for those final few spots, especially because like it's just going to be crazy. Because like you have a few teams, Utah, Denver, Lakers, the Suns should all make the playoffs. Dallas should, but like with the Clippers without Kawhi, Portland going through some stuff, like it's going to be crazy to see how this unfolds, and I'm super excited for it.
yeah, it's going to be a very two great, interesting seasons coming up, both NBA and college. And
Definitely.
I'm I'm more than looking forward to sitting down like this and just talking hoops with you
Definitely, bro.
because that's what I love to do. And uh, I just wanted to tell the audience that we are ready for a big college basketball and NBA season, and stay on the lookout for more episodes.
Oh, let's go. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Thank you.